Hey there fellow creators, Ben here from Cinder Studios, and today I'm happy to announce that I'm starting a Discord server specifically for artists and fans of this channel. But before we get to that, I ordered art supplies again. So let's talk about this first. So as per usual, roughly every season or so, I get some art supplies from my local Blick. In this case, I ordered online because everything is closed right now. Now, this particular box I'm sort of classifying as the black box, specifically because that's mostly what's in it, is things with black pigment. There's also not a lot of stuff. I didn't go crazy this year, or this season rather. The first thing I actually got was just 4 12-inch stretcher bars for a 12x12 canvas. These actually shipped in a couple of days ago, and everything else was on other delay, another day. So, let's go ahead and unpack some stuff. All right, I'll just pull stuff up off of the up onto the section. This was mostly a restock batch of stuff. First thing I picked up was some micaceous iron oxide. Say sort of a color by golden, sits somewhere between an iridescent color and a medium. I have some, I've had some for a while. I love this stuff. I got some to try a while ago, and it's kind of become part of my working set now. It dries to sort of this slightly grittier black finish, and a little bit shimmery as well. So I love this stuff. I was starting to run low. I've kind of got maybe tiny bits worth of a can left. It would probably be about an ounce worth of paint-ish. So not a lot left. Needed to restock that, and now that I actually have some here, I'll show it to you wet. Oh, looks like that leaked a little bit. That's okay. It's pretty thick stuff. This is what it looks like when it's wet, and it dries to a fairly similar finish. So I don't need to worry about that now. And one thing I do with my jars, and I actually do it with my tubes as well, is I put some of that color on top so I can see what I'm looking at from a distance. I can see them up my jars in the corner and everything like that. So, mica, I just call it mica black, but the color is actually called micaceous iron oxide. Next up is, actually this is the first time I think I've ever gotten a golden color that's in a jar. A lot of times I'm getting the Utrecht jars, but this is Mars Black. I've had a tube of it forever. And the tube, something happened with the cap and it got screwed up. In the recent live show, I just squeezed it into a jar. And I was like, you know what? I think maybe I'll just restock it when I restock it and just get the jar of it to circumvent that problem in the first place. So I went from a jar back to a tube, and then the tube was gone pretty fast. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back to a jar again. So that's really all I did. So, again, real simply, nice, basic, same thing you'd get out of a tube kind of color, but now I have it in a jar. And it takes some of the guesswork out of getting any more, because that's probably going to be enough to last me at least another 2 years now. Well, maybe. Depends on what I paint. Sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 6 months. It all depends on what I'm doing. Next up we have yet another Pentel Pocket brush pen. This is actually my 3rd or 4th one of these. The one I'm currently using for my day-to-day sketching that I load with walnut ink, I'm starting to notice it kind of gum up a little bit. The flow isn't what it should be anymore. I think some of the walnut ink is actually starting to dry into the pen mechanism. So I was like, you know what, it's about time I grab a new one of these and just swap them out. Now the last paint thing in the black box is a giant, sort of giant RNF pigment stick. Now I've got a whole bunch of these smaller ones. I don't know what they call these. These are the 38 mil size, and that's what most of the ones I have are. And now I had a half stick of ivory black, and that particular one is almost gone. I realized in it while doing a recent oil painting that I didn't have enough, or really any black paint or black oil paint outside of that little bit of stick that was left. Well, I need a new one. And so I went on Blick's website, and a lot of stuff is actually back ordered right now. most likely due to the virus and the fact that everybody's ordering art supplies right now. So the next one up, I had to just up to the size, so I went for a Mars Black rather than Ivory Black, because I do tend to prefer Mars Black to Ivory Black, and this is the 100 milliliter size versus the 38, so it's considerably larger. So it'll definitely last me quite a bit longer than the last one, and having that much paint is pretty good. That's basically, I would say, the equivalent of maybe like a tube and a half of a 2-ouncer, so pretty solid. Take this off now. Not going to be able to get it back in the tube without it. Also, I like this cap's a little different. That just kind of fits right on top rather than the one that kind of pops in the middle like that. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting another pop top, but that works too. And the last thing in here, the one thing that isn't black, it's white. It's a giant 18 by 24 sheet of the Canson XL watercolor paper. Now, it's like, alright, why'd you pick this up? Well, one, the XL that I have is not this big, but it's is almost gone. I have a 11 by 15 pad. There's one sheet left in it, and I was like, well, I'm going to need some new watercolor paper soon, so I might as well take the opportunity to get this big pad. And in getting the big pad, I also got a free watercolor brush. Unfortunately, the free watercolor brush is on back order. So, I get this, and at some point in the future, I'm going to get a free watercolor brush that I got for buying this sometime that I'm not expecting. So that should be fun. But that's what I got this time around. I also got an order from Liquitex, from their website, from their website, the liquitex.com stuff. Most of that's just restocks, new nibs for my paint markers. The most notable thing out of that is a small soft body of phthalo green blue shade, but that I'll have in a separate video in the near future. Okay, so all the fancy art supplies aside, the real point of this video is to talk about my new Discord server, Cinder Society. I've been kicking around this idea for a while, but I think with everybody kind of trapped at home right now, I think it's a good time to actually launch the thing. So if you're unfamiliar with Discord, it's a voice chat protocol application that you can either download to your phone or your computer, or just run through a web browser. And basically, you go on, you can talk with people like you might on the phone, but in the larger chat room groups. You can type messages, you can video chat back and forth the way you would with a lot of other programs. But specifically, I wanted something that was sort of like a forum for Cinder Studios, somewhere that we can come together as a group of creatives and fans of creativity, and to talk about our work, to talk about different ways to create, share techniques and ideas, be able to get critique and feedback on our work, and be able to do so in a safe environment. It's really kind of hard to put yourself out there online, like critique my work and not get a whole bunch of hate back. So I want to create a community based on the community that already exists here on YouTube, but having it a little bit more private and refined for people that don't necessarily want to put themselves out there globally, but maybe can put themselves out there in a group of maybe a handful of people. Now, I should note that Discord is sort of designed to be used by gamers. So if you don't play games, though, don't worry about it. I mean, it was created to have like voice chat for people playing big online games together, but if you're not a gamer, you don't play games, don't worry about it. Get an account anyway, and hop onto the server. Now, generally, you would get a link to get invited in, and I decided it'd probably be a good idea not to just have that link be public, also because I think it expires after a while. So if you want to be invited into Cinder Society, send me an email, cinderblockstudios@live.com, and I'll send you an invite to it. I think that's a better way to do that, just because it will keep just random people from joining. At this point, it'll just be the people that really want to be part of that artistic group and that artistic Cinder Society. So that's actually really all I have this week, because I spent a lot of my energy where I would normally be making a video in building that Discord server and getting all things kind of squared away. Now I will be sending a few invites out outside of those requests for the invites coming to me. If you've actually entered one of the giveaways before, I will be sending out a mass invite to anyone who was on my contacts list for that. as well as just a handful of artists that I've connected with through the channel here, and if I already have your email address, then I'm going to be sending those out as well. But if you're not sort of already on my contact list from a previous email, go ahead and send me an email, and so I can invite you into that community, and hopefully very soon we can keep learning and keep growing together as artists. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, get subscribed if you're not already, check my art out in social links in the description box below, and this has been reminding you to keep on creating, and I'll see you guys next time. Ooh, that was a good one.